Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new video. So this video is extremely requested. I get asked this question probably 3, 4, 5 times a day. And that question is, how much have I put into my STI? Now, there are a ton of factors that come into play here. But I'm going to do my best to kind of give you an idea of just what I've spent, or at least what's currently on the car. This doesn't include past modifications. It doesn't include any type of labor. It doesn't include any type of maintenance, gas, insurance, nothing like that. This video is simply just going to go over the costs of all the hard parts. And I'm also going to give you the price of the car as well. And the reason why I'm going to give the price of the car as well is just so people have an understanding as to how much the entire thing costs, including the car. So if you don't have an STI and you want to put together this exact version with everything that I have on here, this is what it's going to end up costing. Now, before we start diving deep into all the costs and all the monies and everything, I want to preface this video with a few things that I want to mention prior to this, because I know this can get a little weird. I know it can get a little fishy with how people spend their money and how other people's opinions think you spent the money wrong in this or that way. I understand that the dollars and the price and everything that I'm going to go over in a little bit, people can spend it in different ways. There's 1,001 ways to go about these cars, whether it's just performance, whether it's cosmetics, what have you. That is what's so great about these cars in general. The aftermarket support is insane. So you literally can do whatever it is that you want. Now, this is just the way that I built it. This is just the way that I feel comfortable building my STI to this point. Like I said, there's 1,000 ways to do it, but if anybody wanted to replicate this exact STI down to the nut and bolt of everything that I have done, this is just personally what I have spent just to get it to this point. Another thing to note is that all of the parts on the car I bought brand new. I did not buy anything used. Actually, let me go back. The only thing I bought used was the kicker subwoofer in the trunk. Everything else I purchased brand new. I did not buy any used parts. And the main reason for that is because I've been down the road of buying used parts before. I've gotten some shoddy things and it just didn't turn out the way that I wanted it. So with this car, I said that I was only going to buy brand new parts. I wasn't going to mess around with modifications that have been used and have a story with and everything. I simply just wanted to get brand new things. So I knew the complete story, the complete history, all the mileage, everything about it. So everything that I name here is brand new, minus the kicker subwoofer. Now, also, you guys understand that I do these videos. I do it purely for enjoyment. And the reason why I'm saying that is because I do not have, or I have not taken on any sponsorships. I believe it or not, I have not this entire time, and there's a big reason for that. I'm a type of person that I'm not going to be told what to say just because I got a part for free. With this car, I built it the exact way that I wanted it. So every video, every modification that you have seen on this car is because I personally want to put it on there. Now, with my experience with Subarus and WRXs and STIs, I have been down the road before. I have tried just about everything for the most part. So I knew kind of what I wanted and what my ultimate goal was. Now, it was somewhat easy for me to kind of pick parts out just because of the experiences I've had in the past. So I knew what I wanted, and that was purely based on experience as well as the research and hours and hours and hours that I have done over the years. It has taken me a long time to pick and choose exactly what I wanted to put on this car. But I have not taken on any sponsorships. No company has, single-handedly just handed me a modification or a part for this car and said, here, I want you to say this. You have to say it's the greatest thing in the world. If you guys do watch my videos, you understand that I am completely unbiased. I simply just state if it's good or not, because I want to lead you guys in the right direction. I want to stay relatable. I want you guys to understand that, the videos and everything that I'm putting out here is simply just to help. I want to give you guys my knowledge and my opinions that I have developed over the years, so I can help you build your WRX or STI to the best of your ability. Another note that I want to go over quickly is that this car right here, it has taken me 5.5 years to get it to this point right now. I'm not some crazy YouTuber that, has endless money that can just buy this car, last week and just dump all this crazy cash into it and make it, look like this. I am an average Joe. I work a full-time job. I'm just like you guys. I work hard, I save up my money, and I purchase the parts just like you. Like I said, I don't have sponsorships. There has been some companies that have helped a little bit in terms of partnerships, but honestly, it really wasn't much. I was never handed anything for free, but the small partnerships was simply because I have purchased a lot from them in the past, and they helped me out a little bit in terms of the cost. I still had to pay for it. But overall, it really didn't matter that much. And honestly, for the little discount that they may have given me on a few parts, honestly, they give those small discounts out to pretty much everybody that creates content or that can help their business succeed and kind of share their word and share their business and everything. So just to keep in mind, this has taken me 5.5 years to get to this point. Social media and YouTube and everything in general, it's a very, very toxic place, and it can make you go insane. And what I mean by that is you'll see other people's builds, you'll see other people's cars and lives in general, and think yours is not good enough. You will simply do something to your car and just like, oh, okay, that wasn't enough. I need to do more because this person is doing that. And that is the worst mindset to have, because you will not appreciate what you have right in front of you. The reason why I say it took me 5.5 years is because that is realistic. This just didn't happen in a few months. Like I said, it honestly taken me half a decade to get to this point. And I'm very, very proud of it. But I just wanted to mention that before we start going over everything, just so you guys have an idea how long it took me to get here. And I'm not just made of money, and I just didn't start throwing, tons and tons and tons of cash into this car right away. So keep that in mind before we start going over the numbers. All right, so now that we got those few things out of the way, I wanted to go over how I'm going to do this video. Now, the list of modifications on this car is ridiculous. Honestly, I keep an Excel spreadsheet of every single little thing that I have done to this car. Maintenance, modifications, I keep a mileage. Every 1,000 miles that I do, I record it. It's pretty crazy. So I had an idea of how much I spent over the years. I've kept track and everything, which honestly is probably not a good idea. But I had somewhat of an idea of what, I was spending over the years, just to kind of keep me in the loop and keep me sane somewhat. So I know sometimes people say it's bad to do that, but for me, it helps me out and kind of keeps me grounded and not going too crazy. So instead of listing every single modification one by one, and the price one by one, that would just take way too long. This video would probably be like 2 hours. What I'm actually going to do to make it more palatable and easier for you guys to understand is I'm going to break it up into 4 different categories. And the 4 categories that I broke it up into are exterior, interior, suspension, and performance. And the reason for that is because those are the main 4 points of the car. I'll kind of go over a little bit as to, what those modifications are in that category. Just a brief, quick explanation. I'm not going to list everything because honestly, I don't think I have the brain capacity to sit there and list everything. It's just too much. So breaking it down into those 4 categories, I think is going to give you guys a good idea as to what I spend on each part of the car. All right, so let's get started. Now, I'm going to include the price of the car first. And the reason for that is just so people understand kind of what I'm into this car in total. So if somebody was interested in building this car exactly, how it is sitting right now, and they don't have an STI and they're curious of what it costs and everything, that is the reason why I'm going to mention it. So I bought this car in March of 2017. It is a base model STI. That is what I wanted. I didn't want the limited. I didn't want the premium, which was an option at the time. I wanted a base model STI. I didn't want anything crazy. It came with a few extras like the HomeLink mirror. It had the door guard things on there, which I ended up taking off. A few little things here and there, but it wasn't much. And I ended up paying $35,235.98 out the door for this car, which is pretty crazy to think about now because buying a used STI, like a 2019 or so, you're looking at upwards of upper 30s, and that's a used STI. So pretty crazy. It was a pretty good deal. I was really happy with that. So that is what I paid for my 2017 base STI in 2017. All right, so what I'm actually going to do is actually work the categories in from least expensive to the most expensive. We're going to start off with the first category of suspension. So everything suspension related on this car, I'm going to go over just really quickly since it's really not that much. I have Fortune Auto coilovers. I have Super Pro lower control arms in the rear with the rear braces. I have Perrin 25mm rear sway bar with the Perrin poly rear and front end links. That doesn't include alignments or anything like that. I installed everything myself, so there was no labor involved with that. But for suspension alone, we're looking at $2,502.20. Now we are going to go to the second category, and that is interior. Now this is going to include everything that I've done on the inside of this car, including the Recaro Sportster GT seats. Now the actual two seats and the brackets and everything, that takes up pretty much the bulk of this cost. But we're talking about all the Alcantara bits by Overland Designs, steering wheel, the shift knob, the iDoing head unit, all the little tidbits that I've done like the carbon door handles and everything. So the interior cost comes in at $8,178.24. All right, so now we are getting to the two most expensive categories. This is where it starts to get fun. Well, for you guys, not for me, but we're going to go over the exterior costs. Now, this is going to include all the lighting and everything that you see on the outside, including the lip kit, all the carbon fiber and everything. It's including the wheels, the brakes. So everything that you see on the exterior of this STI, I have spent $19,579.60. Okay, last and final category, this sucker right here, all the performance related parts. Now this is going to include all the engine dress up parts and everything just because it is located in here and I didn't know where to include that. You can include it in the exterior, I guess, as well. But either way, it's accounted for. This includes all the hard parts, so all of the exhaust, the equal length headers, the turbo, the top mount intercooler, everything that I have done to make this STI 413 horsepower and 358 foot-pounds of torque. This one is a hard pill to swallow. Again, this does not include any labor. This just includes all the hard parts that are on the STI right now. And the total cost of performance parts that I have spent on this car is $22,008.97. All right, so when you add those four categories up, the total that I have spent, including the car, on all the hard parts, exterior, interior, performance, and suspension, is $87,504.99. Again, that does not include labor. It does not include any of the maintenance that I have done on this car. So to be completely honest, with all the labor and everything that I have paid for over the years with alignments and getting tires mounted and all that, we are for sure in six digits. We are definitely over that $100,000 mark. Yes, that seems crazy. That seems insane. Kind of blows my mind. But if you wanted to build this exact STI with everything on here, as you see it right here in my garage, that is what you're looking to spend. Yes, it is expensive. Yes, there's plenty of other cars that you can spend $100,000 on. But to me, this is a childhood dream. This is something that I wanted to build forever, ever since I was a kid and ever since I fell in love with the STI. I've always wanted to get an STI, build it the way that I wanted it with no expense spared, and just enjoy it the way that I wanted it. And to even think that this is still a stock internal motor, I still haven't built the motor, it's pretty insane. So again, I understand this is a crazy amount of money. I understand that with $100 grand, you can obviously go do whatever else that you want to do, but for me, it's all about the passion. For me, it's all about the joy that it brings me. It's all about the community and friendships that I have made over the years with this car alone. This channel alone, it means a lot to me. And to see just how much it has grown because of this car is absolutely amazing. And I understand why you guys are so in love with the car as I am, because it is something that I understand not many people have the means to do. I'm just living vicariously through my childhood, something that I've always wanted to do. And I was finally in a position to be able to do it, and I wanted to share it with you guys, and I hope you guys enjoyed the journey to where it is today. So Yeah, a lot of money, pretty crazy, but I wouldn't trade it for the world, and I do not regret one single penny that I have spent on this car. So there you go. There is the nitty gritty. There is the flat out how much this thing has cost me over the 5.5 years that I've owned it. Like I said, this cost has nothing to do with any labor, has anything to do with any maintenance, gas, insurance, nothing like that. This cost is purely just what I've spent on modifications to bring it to this point. Again, it may not seem like a lot to somebody. It may seem pretty stock, granted, because I haven't built the motor, and otherwise the exterior looks pretty straightforward and pretty stock-like in a way. That's what it took to bring it to this point, to use all, high quality, highly reputable, top tier modifications from really reputable brands. And that's just what it takes. That is kind of the motto that I always tell people, that if you want to do it right, it is going to cost money. The STI in general is not cheap to modify to this extent. It gets very expensive very quickly. But as we all know, these cars in general, it's a passion. It's something that we all love doing. This channel and this car has brought together a lot of like-minded people just to hang out, talk cars, go over everything that I've installed, and just bring some positivity to this world. And that is what this channel is all about. So if you guys have any questions about anything on the STI or anything at all, I'll be happy to answer. But I'm going to wrap the video up here. I hope that I answered a lot of your questions. I know this was a very big question that a lot of people were curious about. So I took some time, sat down, added everything up, and just went over it. And there you go. That is what I have spent on my 2017 STI modifications over the last 5.5 years. So if you guys have any questions at all, be sure to ask them below. But in the meantime, keep it clean, keep it simple, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.